All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Karkadash, Rakatham to the elders and apostles of Hakim, and I say Shalom. And this is a prophecy updates as of May the 6th, 2025 on this Tuesday afternoon. And this is a news article from the Jerusalem Post. As we've been seeing, the alliance between China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea from a military cooperation perspective and an economic perspective as well too, as I add a side note to that. And this is a news article as of May the 6th, 2025 by Reuters, and it reads, it says Russia says Iran and others have legal right to develop their own nuclear program, energy program. It says the Russian foreign minister says on Tuesday that Iran and other countries that do not pose nuclear weapons have their legitimate right to develop their own civil nuclear energy programs. It says Maria Shakalova, if I pronounce her name right. It says a spokesperson for the Russian foreign ministers was responding to a question at a news briefing about remarks about the U.S. President Donald Trump, who suggested that Washington's goal in negotiations with Iran was to achieve their dismantling of their Iran's nuclear program. Right, and that is true because, like it says in Joel, the 3rd chapter, let the weak stand strong, and all these other nations that's going to continue building up their nuclear capability, their nuclear program, nuclear energy program, and nuclear capability as well too. So that is true. So these countries these countries are only going to continue to building up their nuclear capability, especially against the adversaries. So we've definitely seen signs of that, despite the fact they've been having these talks with these nations to deteriorate tensions, between these nations. But that's still going to have Iran building up their nuclear capability, North Korea building up their nuclear capability, and you're going to see the alliance between China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea building up their nuclear capability, upgrading their nuclear capability against the adversaries. So we're definitely seeing signs of that. And it goes into that Joel 3 verse 10, let the weak stand strong. We're seeing signs of that. Since I mentioned them, bring that out for edification's sake. This is Joel chapter 3. Joel chapter 3 verse 10. It says, beat your plowshares and swords and plentiful and spears, let the weak stand strong. Right, let the weak stand strong. But you're still going to have these arms of nations building up their nuclear capability, upgrading their capability to their nuclear arsenal that they already have right now. So as I mentioned again, you're going to have these alliances building up their nuclear capability with one another against the adversaries. So we're going to be seeing more signs of that. And we're going to see the alliance between China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. These other nations that got nuclear capability and let the weak stand strong. So definitely seeing signs of that. This is Joel chapter 3 verse 9. It says, proclaim me this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near and come up. Right, so that's what we're seeing. These arms of nations are in that warlike mindset as they continue to be gathered up over there in the Valley of Jehoshaphat over there in Western Asia. So this is definitely going to continue to be proclaimed among the Gentiles of arms of nations prepared for war. So we're seeing definitely increasing significant signs of it. Joel chapter 3 verse 10, I'm going to read this again. It says, beat your plowshare. Bleach your plowshares and swords and plenty hooks and the spears, let the weak stand strong. Right, let the weak stand strong. So we're seeing definitely signs of it. And this is Matthew 24 and verse 6. It says, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, that's what you're not wars and wars, rumors of wars, despite the fact these nations trying to de-escalate tensions, but we're still going to be seeing these modern day wars and rumors of wars that Yahweh spoke of. It says, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be in trouble for all these things must first come to pass, but then it's not yet. Why it's going to come to pass, but it's not going to hit just yet. So this is Matthew 24 verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Right, that's what we're seeing. Modern day nations against modern day nations, and modern day kingdoms against modern day kingdoms. It says there should be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. So we're going to be seeing more signs of that. And this is the book of Luke 21. This is the book of Luke 21 verse 25. It says, there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth. Distressive nations will perplex the seas run. Right, so we're going to be seeing other distressive nations will perplex the seas roaring as we see in our world today. This is the book of 2nd Esdras. 2nd Esdras chapter 9 and verse 3. It says, therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes and uproars speak the world. Right, so that's what we're seeing in our world today, increasing earthquakes and uproars speak the world. So we're going to be seeing signs of that, like I mentioned before. And this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 15. It says, for the sword that is first draweth nigh, one people should stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. We know the modern swords well. 2nd Ezra 15 verse 16, it says, for there should be sedition among man and betting one another. They should not regard their kings or their princes. And of course, the action stand power. Right, so we're seeing more signs of that. Sedition among man and betting one another. This is St. Mark chapter 3 and verse 24. It says, and if a kingdom be divided against the 7 kingdoms, cannot stand. Right, so if a kingdom be divided against the 7 kingdoms, cannot stand. So we definitely going to be seeing more significant signs of that. Modern day kingdoms rise against one another. Modern day nations against modern day nations, and modern day kingdoms against modern day kingdoms, which goes as a half note. So we're going to see more signs of that. Because you're going to have a nation with itself being divided. Outside of another nation rise against another nation. Same thing was the modern day kingdom rise against one another. And you're going to have another nation rise against another nation. That's what we're seeing that Yahushua spoke of. St. Mark chapter 3 verse 25. And if a kingdom be divided against the 7th kingdom, cannot stand. Right, so if a kingdom be divided against the 7th kingdom, cannot stand. So we're going to see more signs of that. St. Mark chapter 3 verse 26. And if Satan rise against himself, be divided, cannot stand, be having hand. Right, 2nd Ezra 9 verse 5. That's what we're seeing. So I'm going to go back to these more news articles. So as it says again, Russia says Iran and other countries have their legal right to their own nuclear energy programs. But that is true. Slovakia. I don't know why it's doing that. Slovakia. It says U.S. to merge Pakistani officials with Israel embassy, says the State Department reports. It says Russia downs 2 Ukrainian drones en route to Moscow. Moscow mayor says. It says Sudan to cut ties with the United Arab Emirates, Defense Council says. Right, because it's heating up over there in Sudan throughout that whole area. It says 7. Right, as we've been seeing the rising tensions between Pakistan and India, especially for the past 2.5 weeks, ever since that incident happened like 2 weeks ago. About 2 Thursdays ago, about 2 weeks ago. And this is a news article from the Jerusalem Post once again. It has May the 6th, 2025 in reads. It says 7 Pakistan soldiers killed in a blast in the country's blame India. 7 Pakistan armed soldiers were killed on Tuesday when a vehicle was targeted by the improvised explosive device in the troubled southwestern province. And Pakistan's military says in their statement, blaming their arch rival India for the attack. It says the ties between the two nations have been strained ever since April the 22nd in the India-Kashmir that targeted Hindu tourists. It says killing at least 26. It says India accused Pakistan involvement, saying that 2 of the 3 suspected attackers were Pakistani nationals. It says Istanbul has denied the action. Islamabad, if I pronounced that right, it says has denied the accusation, but says it's fully prepared to defend itself. In the case of attack, prompting war powers took off a calm intentions, which is not going to come. The scripture says, when they shall say peace and safety, such trust come upon at 144 call Allah Yahweh Shah. This is St. Mark chapter 3 verse 25. That's a prime example. And if a kingdom be divided, it's a 7th kingdom cannot stand. Right, as we're seeing modern day kings be divided, it's a 7th which cannot stand. That's why we're seeing nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Bring up that once again. And then I'm going to bring up that Ecclesiasticus. This is Matthew 24 verse 7. It says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Right, so we're going to be seeing nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and earthquakes in diverse places. Matthew 24 verse 6. It says, ye shall hear of wars, rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet. This is Ecclesiasticus 3 verse 8. It says, in a time to love, in a time of HATE, in a time of war, in a time of peace. Right, so we're living in a time of HATE, and a time of war as well too. So that's something going to continue to increase. get to the more news articles. It says Oman says it has meditated ceasefire between Yemen and the Houthis, which that's not going to happen because the Houthi rebels, they're not going to back down. Long as you continue to have long as you continue to have the Israel Defense Force using heavy airstrikes and using heavy raids over there against the Palestinians, and the pro-Iranian group is going to continue to have those heavy airstrikes against those Israel Defense Force and those United States armies as well too, and Great Britain as well too. Because Yemen, the representation of Yemen, he mentioned numerous times, previously as of recently, say he's going to continue to be in solidarity with the Palestinians until the aggression of those Palestinians is be over from the Israel Defense Force, which it's not going to be over. So we're going to continue to see escalation heating up on. As I mentioned again, 1 Thessalonians 5:3, for when they shall say peace and safety, some church come upon them. And since says it went to that point, and bring that out as well too for edification's sake. And this is 1 Thessalonians 5:3. It says, when they shall say peace and safety, such destruction upon them, as the Javert on the challenge not escape. Right, because we're going to be seeing more wars, rumors of wars, war nation against nation, and kingdom against kingdom that Yahweh has spoken. That's why the scripture says, when they shall say peace and safety, such destruction upon them, as the Javert on the challenge not escape. So we're still going to be seeing more seditions, uprisings, speaking war, nation against nations, and kingdom against kingdoms. So we're going to continue to see more increasing our signs up there. And Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 8, read this again. It says, in their time to love, in their time of HATE, in their time of war and time of peace, right? So we're definitely living in those times. That's only going to continue to increase. So with that, this was just a quick sit-down lesson of the prophecy updates as of May the 6th, 2025 on this, I would say, Tuesday afternoon. So with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash. The rock of thumb to the elders and apostles. Until next time, say shalom.